It's just me, Corey Davis.
I'm Kalyx. Hi. Not very animated.
And I'm Michael, and today we've got with us, hi, I'm Phil Geeks. So how you guys doing today? We're going to talk about so many different things, so many wonderful things on GEEKCASTER, everything sci-fi, fantasy, geek culture, and geek content. Today's show is dedicated to the whole Halloween season, and we're going to go over franchises, scary franchises. Geeks, what do we got first? What's the first one we're going to go through?
Saw.
Well, the first one I think we should go through is It. So the first one will be It.
We should go over Evil Dead first.
No, I want It.
It was great.
It, yes. I like that movie.
Okay,
but let's critique it. And also, let's give shout out to our friend, our new guest, our ghost. What is it? A ghost Hess or a guest S? What is it called? Cassie? How do you say your name?
Kalyx.
Kalyx, what do you do, Kalyx? Let's give a shout out to what you do.
I write and direct stuff and trying not to curse.
That's amazing. So you write and you direct. So do you create any scary content?
Yeah. I guess you want me to elaborate. Yeah, I've been 2 shorts. So I'm doing another short now, but I can't go into detail about what it's about. Just that.
You're awesome. You're like a jazz musician. You're all cool and laid back. All right, guys. So what do you think of a movie, It? What is your critique on It? The whole series, from the original to the remakes.
Okay, so the original It felt more comical and creepy, but not in a scary moment. But the new It more has that scary factor to the point where when you look at the clown, it makes you start fearing clowns after a while.
Do I just jump in? Or
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like the original. I don't like the remake. I don't really think it's very good. The second one was scarier than the first one. But I hate the new Pennywise look. He looks like a vaudeville clown. It's not very scary to me. I like the original Pennywise better.
I do like the original better. I like the original storyline, but the remake for part 1 and part 2, I thought they did a good job of modernizing it. They could have did a better job of the scares, and as you said, Pennywise as well. But overall, I think it was a good addition to the It franchise series.
The second one was good. They put the best part in the trailer, which was unfortunate, but...
Right. I hate when they do that.
So, we spoke about this many times before on the show, but not having you here. So, as a director, as someone that creates stories, do you think when they make a film and it does well, just leave it alone, or they should take time to do it again and see if they can perfect it? What's your take on that?
Not broke, don't fix it. But the problem is nobody's trying to perfect it. They're just trying to make more money off of it. So they're just taking a concept that already exists, that already has a fan base, and just doing something with it. There's no
Oh, by the way, you can't move around so much because we hear the popcorn and we don't hear you talking.
Oh, so I can't use the popcorn? I'll put it down. They told me they couldn't hear me.
Or maybe you're too far away from the mic. See, this is what happens when you got that corona. You got to do everything virtual. All right, now.
That was my last kernel. I can't move. It was very difficult. I can't curse or move. Yeah, so they just tried to do stuff just for the sake of money, and I think when you do stuff just for money, it tends to suck. If it's not something that you have a passion for, it's probably with anything, but especially with film. So, I mean, people are pretty easy to scare, I think, much easier than me. Story is real big to me, and atmosphere, and I didn't like the first remake. The second, like I said, was a little bit scarier, but yeah, I mean, that's something I really want to rewatch anytime soon.
All right now. All right, Corey, Dayveonne. We're gonna go through these quick. So, what's your take on It? Should people check out It or just let that go for the Halloween season?
Check it out.
Definitely check out the original before you check out the remake reboot versions.
All right. Now, here's an old classic. Now, I don't find it to be scary, but a lot of people say, as old as it is a scary movie. And that would be Jaws. What do you think? Does Jaws really make it into that list?
I mean, I think Jaws is like an example.
Can you move closer to your microphone? Maybe you're just too far.
How am I now? Because like I have the phone precariously perched somewhere, so I don't want to like move it. You know what? Let me see something. Stab Bussey on.
All right. In the meanwhile, Dayveonne, what do you think about Jaws? Do you think that counts as a scary movie? Should it really be? Some people say it really is scary, and some people say it isn't.
Like, it's alright. It's not scary in a way that it's a Halloween film, but the situation is scary, but not the movie itself. I mean, like anybody that's placed in that situation, yeah, it is scary. But as far as it being like a psychological scary or a demonic scary, no, it's not that type of scary that's suitable for Halloween.
If you're talking about it now in today's climate, then yeah, it's not scary. But at that time, at release, if you saw it in theaters when it was released, it was groundbreaking, it was new, it was something you haven't seen before. So yeah, people were scared when they first saw it. So I think that it does fall into the horror genre.
Is this better now?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
So I would say the reason why I don't call Jaws like scary, or I don't like it just being called horror, is because you really have to break horror down into different categories, and I think that's generally why people get upset when someone says, check out this scary movie, and they're like, what is this? And they're not scared, right? Because you have different things that are scary. So yeah, maybe if you swim a lot and the beach is your thing, Jaws might still be scary to you, but in general, is it really, I feel like good horror and effective horror and something that's really horrific is something that can speak to anybody generally, some situation that most people can find themselves in. You know, most of the people have been in a house without power at some point, or on a deserted, lonely road, something that dredges up those feelings. So Jaws might be effective for some people, but do I think it's really like a horror film? I mean, I don't. And then, you know, as was said, like, it was good for its time, but then that means it's just not timeless, which kind of sucks. Like, it's still part of pop culture. People wear the shirts and stuff, but it's not having the same impact. Definitely greater.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. The tapping in to the normal things that people are afraid of. One of the best franchises I think that tapped into that was Friday the 13th. Everyone has this camping, this woods fear, and out of all the franchises, I think that, as far as old school, actually, I think Friday the 13th actually helped. Was it Friday the 13th or was it Halloween that really started the whole franchise of scary movies?
It's Friday the 13th.
Excuse me?
I don't know about scary movies, but because they're their own things. You have to remember, around that time of Halloween and Jason, you also had Nightmare on Elm Street and Chucky. So these things all came out.
But they came after, though.
Yeah, but there was an entire movement going on as far as horror goes, and Jason and Mike Myers aren't really the same as like Chucky or Freddy Krueger. They're different types of scares. So, because like Friday the 13th would be more like a slasher film, right? So that's different type of horror than something like Freddy Krueger, who's more of a demon. So yeah, they were all around each other around the same time, but I wouldn't say one influenced the other. His horror really started burgeoning from like the B horror movie films, and I would say probably maybe even Texas Chainsaw Massacre could be more credited with starting and getting things moving more so than like Friday the 13th.
But I think, like you said, they were slashers because there was that whole situation of being trapped in the woods or in a cabin and having someone with the giant machete chop up all your friends. And when you go into the Friday Nightmare on Elm Street, it had the slasher and the spiritual element combined. So it wasn't just one thing. They created a whole new monster. So if you look at some of these genres, you do have to see like what element they're actually placing into the movie so people could either identify with it or just be scared of it. And with Jason and Mike Myers, most people don't go camping. Some people are like, I'll never be in the woods, or I could fight somebody with a knife. How do you fight someone in your dreams? That's always been like the argument for Freddy Krueger.
Well, let's. Well, we kind of skipped from one to another, but I guess that was a good transition. So let's. Let's talk. Well, let's finish Friday the 13th, and then we'll go into Nightmare on Elm Street. So Friday the 13th definitely went through, I think, every 6 years they had a film, something crazy like that.
Something like that.
On the average, right?
Yeah, it was more frequent than Halloween.
Yeah, definitely more frequent than Halloween, which is interesting because Halloween, they tried to tell a different story the second Halloween. That didn't do too well, and then they went back to the earlier plan, you know. They're like, well, this is not good. In fact, Halloween 2 is interesting because the whole premise were the masks that they were giving out were demonized, right? Is that what it was? They were turning people into like zombies or something? Did you guys see that?
It was like they tried to stray too far away from the original storyline, so it wasn't like a true sequel where Mike Myers and the character Jamie Lee Curtis played were, you know, in this all-out battle for, you know, just a family dynamic. So when they went away from that, it kind of turned people off, and they were just like, oh, what else can we do with this person instead of what can we do with the storyline? And that's, I think, what happened there.
But Corey, you mentioned something really good about dreams, fear of dreams and stuff. Do you think Freddy kind of hit it where like no one else can do that concept because it's so specific?
Yeah, I think every time we look into the human psyche or just the human experience as when it comes to dreams, nothing really stands out or can capture your attention like Freddy, because it was, even when they did the remake of the last Nightmare on Elm Street, where they introduced micro naps and just how we evolve as a society, sleep is a part of daily life, and you can't avoid sleep no matter how much you try. And that's just having a creature or a person inevitably waiting for you to take that nap or just go to sleep is just one of the scariest concepts, I think.
Dayveonne, what do you think about the turn that when Freddy, as basically a pedophile, right, and a rapist, it went from he's this evil bad guy to the point maybe movie 3 through 6 people are actually rooting for him, which is interesting, the power of a film that you could take such a dark evil character and turn around in a way where it's almost like a comedy thing, that they're rooting for the evil guy.
Because he was so good to the point that you enjoyed his humor, you enjoyed the kills, so, and you enjoyed the sarcasm. So I think that's what drew people more into liking that particular villain. So I think that's one of the breakdowns of his success was the sarcastic comedy and the kills, and the fact that he kills you in your dreams. So I think the main focus was the comedy, dark humor. and it kills.
All right,
It,
since we
it was
have a lady director, I gotta ask you this, lady. I gotta ask you. This is really important. Now, everybody know Freddy. Everybody know Jason, right? But what do you think about Jason versus Freddy?
I like that. It wasn't a really good film, but it was fun.
Oh, can't hear you. Sound like you underwater.
I did. Can you hear me now?
A little bit.
Speaking of, so I'm not sure why, but I'm hearing like some static noise too. I don't know that it's coming from my end. Did anything change?
no, I heard a little bit too.
A little
but
bit.
I
Sound like you underwater, a little something there.
Is there? Let me turn my thing on. Maybe it's
See, all the iPhone. I'm just saying.
is it better now? I
Nope.
think it's super off in the background.
No, it's still.
All right. In the meanwhile, Corey, what do you think about Jason versus Freddy?
I thought it was great. I thought that was fan service to a T because people wanted to see what would happen between those two characters, and they gave us exactly what we expected. So it was good. It was perfect timing. It was a great storyline, great director, great acting, great everything. It was a great movie.
Michael, what do you think of that? Well, I don't know. I think that I think they need to do another one, and I think Dayveonne needs to be in it, and Dayveonne should play Candyman, and it should be Candyman versus Freddy. I think that'll be dope right there.
Well, I gotta be taking Tony Todd's spot, really?
I think you could do it. You got all those voices, and one thing about Candyman that made him so scary. Now, mind you, he doesn't have a whole slew of films, even though one is coming out. But that's that one character that, of course, he also was black, but it was a character that he should have had at least 3 films already.
Correct.
Yeah. At least. Well, what else we got in the chamber? But yeah, let me put that up. Yeah, this is really great. Also, I heard that there's 2 versions of the ending. There's the one they put in the theaters, but there was another version where Freddy actually won. If you bought the DVD. Did you guys know that?
I didn't.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Because I mean, how do you decide with something like that? Who gets to win?
First and foremost, okay, because I never really got my opinion about Freddy versus Jason.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, it was entertaining, but
Okay.
it just didn't have that wow factor to me, because it was like, okay, this is the battle of the slashers. It's basically the fan match of the century. Freddy versus Jason. To me, it wasn't the fan fight of the century. To me, this was like one element comes in to basically just kill people that be at the camp, and the other element is the drink. To me, this would be a huge fan service. Have Freddy versus Hellraiser, even though that's not his name, Pinhead. That would be, to me,
Wow.
a fan service fight.
That's
Jason
crazy.
versus Michael Myers would be a fan service.
Yeah, because they're
stuff
kind
like-
of the zombie brolic. You know, they can't die.
Exactly.
I just think like, I don't know when I can speak, and then I don't know if you can hear me.
You
I
sound
don't know
good. You sound real good now.
Yeah.
I guess the static, like I have to hold this phone then I guess for however long this
You
is.
sound great. Where's the nostril lady though?
She's not here. Mike Myers and Jason are too much alike, so there's not really a story there. And I don't think either one of them speak. So like, how would you do a story, a film with them? It wouldn't really work. Like it worked for Freddy versus Jason because the 2 of them talk so much. But out of all of them, Freddy and Jason are like the biggest people. You hardly hear people talk about Candyman. You hardly hear people talk about Pinhead. So I don't really see those as like really good mashups for that reason. They just weren't as popular for whatever reason. Or I would say Freddy Krueger, his Robert Englund made that character because the remake was horrible. Re-envisioning, whatever they want to call it, was terrible to me. he made that character. So I really just, I don't know. I don't think that, like, you know, it would have worked otherwise with, like, anybody else. The one thing I did really hate about Freddy vs. Jason was that main actress was super annoying. I wanted her to die. She irritated me. Very stupid. I don't know about that. The character was annoying.
That's odd coming from, like, well, not odd, but that's interesting coming from a director. I thought that it was done decently, and like you said, all the points of those being the two biggest names in horror, just battling it out. Was it fan service? Possibly. Was it a money grab? Sure, but I think the production of it, just what these two could actually do to each other, that element was enjoyable for the most part for the average fan of horror.
Yeah, I agree with that. My biggest problem is, like, the girl. Outside of that, I mean, it's fun. It's not something to be scary. It's something literally to just be fun, and that's what it was. It was fun.
All right, well, let's move from fun to actually scary. Now, there's a little ditty called Annabelle, and that whole fear of dolls, it definitely, you know, because Chucky falls into the Freddy Krueger, I want to make you laugh, and I want you to jump, and then I'm going to just kill people in weird, different ways. Annabelle wants you to go to the bathroom on yourself. That's a really big difference. First of all, did you like Annabelle? Do you like the different movies that they did around that? And also, are you guys afraid of dolls?
Who's going first?
Sure, I'll go first. Yes, I'm afraid of dolls, but I wouldn't say to the point where it's just creepy, but I'm not really afraid of them. A possessed doll, I'm just afraid more of the supernatural. So when you combine those two, yeah, it kind of scares me. And then when you look at the whole Conjuring series about the husband and wife paranormal investigators, and Annabelle being a real thing that they saw, oh man, it just brings a realistic element to, like, this horror thing that just creeps me out.
Dolls? I have them right behind me. Am I really afraid of dolls? But
Funko Pops, they're not the same.
But no, I'm gonna say this much. Like the whole Chucky. Well, Annabelle's different from Chucky, so I definitely agree with you on that, Corey, because that's more. It's not really Annabelle, the doll, doing physical things to you. It's what's inside the doll that comes out that does damage, and that's the fear aspect. Compared to Chucky, Chucky will run around, sneak around, and cut you in the ankle until you basically get down on your knees, and he's able to stab you a couple of times.
I don't think he does.
Huh?
I don't think I've ever done that.
No one's ever tried to kick Chucky.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when everybody just kicked the darn doll, like he's running towards you, you're like, yeah.
He ran pretty fast. I mean, that's a little freaky. He ran pretty fast.
I'm not afraid of dolls. I'm not afraid.
You are a doll, okay?
That's not nice. That's not nice. I don't call you a big bear now, do I? There you go.
What you're referencing. But
didn't they make a movie where it's like Annabelle's brother or something?
No, I think
the boy.
And,
okay, yeah. Which was like a cheap thing of Annabelle, basically.
It wasn't even Annabelle, bro. It wasn't even Annabelle.
It was like they took a Korean plot from a Korean horror movie and tried to Americanize it, and it just didn't work out. But it was,
It was awful.
Yeah, because they did two versions. They did, well, not two versions. It was the first one and a sequel. The first one, you start telling. What happened?
I thought they were both horrible.
Well, for the audience, the first one had something to do with the doll, but you find out it wasn't a doll that was moving. You find out there was somebody in the wall.
Yeah.
I said I was spoiling. I didn't make the announcement.
Yeah.
But here's the other one. Part 2 wound up sort of leaning towards Annabelle type setup, but more of a possession type aspect.
It's very interesting. When you watch this show back, Dayveonne, listen to the pitch of your voice. Like your voice just went down a whole pitch. Like your computer just said, "I'm gonna talk like this. That's what I'm gonna do." Like
that. Scary movie.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like this.
But
sorry, audience.
Well, we can't talk about franchises without talking about Saw.
Yes.
Saw, I like it. It's good, but I feel like they just didn't know when to quit. It was like what you were saying, the money grab. Let's just keep making more and more and more to the point it gets crazy. There's a new one with Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Which is based on the Saw series.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be like a continuation or a sequel or a spinoff. I think it's more going to be a spinoff than like a continuation of the Saw franchise.
Oh wow!
But if you look at Saw from the first movie captured you. To know that these teens at the time made a horror movie in like, I want to say less than 21 days, and had a plot twist, and it just captured you. It was great. And then once you started watching the sequels, you only watched it for the torture. I mean, let's just be honest. You just wanted to see what genius invention they could use to for people to try to escape. And it wasn't unbeatable. That was the whole little aspect. You're like, oh, you can beat this or you're gonna die. And you just wanted to see who was gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
Before we go further, because I didn't put my thing on Annabelle. I thought Annabelle was pretty terrible, but the Annabelle Comes Home, which I guess is the second one, was pretty good. That was pretty good. The one with the foster.
That was good. I agree with you.
Yeah, the first one was just pretty awful. But the second one was really good. I was surprised. I might buy it, so I'm looking at it now. I forgot about it.
Which Saw was in 3D?
That was the final chapter.
Yeah, it was
the final chapter.
Yeah.
Final chapter.
All right, really quick, because we only have 3 minutes left. What do you guys think of the Scream series?
I thought it sucked after the first one.
I mean, it's okay. Slasher.
Yeah.
Just slasher like that, so.
It was just one of those movies where they couldn't recapture the magic of the first movie.
Yeah.
See, the only thing about Scream was when they started the first one, it was good, and then when they kept making sequels, it just basically went downhill due to the lack of plot, a lack of anticipation on what was going on. What was the connection?
I agree with that 100%. I agree. But I would like to see Miss Director in a horror film.
Me in a horror film?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. That much scares me. Things that scare me are not scary for other people, like math and elevators.
By the way, random, before we do social media, do you realize that they started us as kids with horror stories? One little piggy went to the market. One little piggy, think about it. And then the other one, with the bricks and the wood and the wolf and the blow your house down. They prepared us for this stuff. Anyway, what's your social media?
Dayveonne Bussey on all social media platforms. I said backgrounds. I meant platforms. And also the Shamar Williams Show on Instagram and Twitter.
I'm gonna try to sound like Dayveonne. My name is Corey Davis. You can find me on IamGT3 on Facebook and Twitter and IG.
For me, you can go to my Instagram. It's just my name, Kalyx, Kalyx, Kai, with the space little underscore, Kai for Kai.
Cool. You can get me at Michael7Michael. And what do you got, Phil? I don't have social media. You should go to GEEKCASTER. GEEKCASTER. GeekCaster.com, and all that.